Fine.
Could Cody be any more insufferable?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so season 14, episode 2, Happier Alone. This is the second half of the 2-hour premiere. If you live somewhere,
because they're only an hour 45 too long.
So we really come in rare and hot. I'm gonna make a comment ahead of time. No, sorry you have to hear me talk. Before we start, so we've been getting a lot of new viewers. If you are a newer viewer, and people have commented this before, they're like, wow, you guys really like Mary. We do not, or at least not historically. If you look at old seasons, if you go back, I think I started recapping like season 6 and you joined me like around 8 or 9, something like that. I used to have a real issue with Mary.
I used to have a real life.
Like, remember the wet bar incident? And how she wanted more money from Mariah and stuff. And so I used to really give her a hard time. And as much as she screwed up with the catfishing incident, the reason why, when we get into this, it drives me nuts is that it's like either move forward or kick her out. But this whole, we're going to punish you every day forever. And you have to still be a wife. But we're not going to give, drives me nuts. And the preview for the season just set we just finished it, set my blood pressure through the roof. And the preview about next week, which looks like 3 wives, the way they made it look, which could be anything. I have no idea. There's no way to guess because they can edit it however they think. Looks like they're going to go in on Mary again. It's driving me nuts. So, But we're not saying that Mary's our favorite. I don't know if any of them are a favorite.
The kids. The kids are
nice. The kids. Yeah. In general, I don't have a problem with any of the kids. And that is something I'll say, which is we don't talk negatively about the kids that are under 18. And kind of the farther away they get under 18, because it wasn't their choice. 18's still really young. The farther away they get, the more I would judge them like adults. But I don't really have to because they all seem really sane, which I guess is something you could say about whatever crazy dynamics we see on TV. Seem to produce reasonably normal people, so whatever. Okay, so we start with Mary, which must have drove Cody nuts that she had like a half an episode all about her. Oh my gosh. He must have driven him crazy because the rest of the episode, every time anything happens, he's right there.
Cody.
First.
Cody.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to bring attention back to him.
Cody.
It's okay. You made your point.
Have I?
Yes. So anyway, they start off with Mary in Vegas. They're kind of getting catch up. It's just her, the director, or whoever it is. I think it's a director in the subtitles. But it's just her. They're just hanging out, and it must have just driven him crazy that she got a full dedicated, about a half an episode to herself. She found a house, so she got essentially kicked out. And I guess now the implication seems to be, it never occurred to me that she moved out on purpose so she could move back to Vegas to be away from family.
But it makes perfect sense.
Well, I wouldn't blame her if that was the case, but she did all the due diligence to get a place. Everyone's like, oh, she has to, why doesn't she just downsize? Well, I think she's paying the rent on her own so she can have whatever kind of house she has. But I know it's coming from the family finances, but 1/5 of that reality TV money is hers. Anyway, I will say though, in the confessionals where Mary's in Vegas, I didn't notice it until we saw the confessional of her alone that are in Vegas, and she seems lighter and brighter and more natural. And then then it became really obvious how tense and unnatural and uncomfortable she is in all the family.
Because she's treated pretty awfully. My
thing about it is,
that thing from 5 years ago, I'm still going to make you pay for it.
Well, here's the thing about it. If he at that point said, you cheated on me emotionally, I'm out, at that point I would have said it's kind of a fair thing. If you ever cheated on me the way that she did, I would kill you. So fair enough. So I'm not saying, oh, fidelity is nothing. But if you're going to insist on her staying a part of the family, then it's like, you know what I mean, in or out. Like, you got to pick a lane. Either she's in the family and you deal with her and she has all the rights of a wife and a member of this family, or she doesn't. It's just not fair. It's just emotionally if there's a word that's less than abusive, but still bad, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a therapist. I don't know what qualifies as what, but it's cruel to watch. So anyways, she's in Vegas. They're having to put up, so when they bought the houses, this is what gets me is they're living, if you had told me that they were trying to live somewhere where they were going to try to buy 4 plots of land, build 4 houses on a cul-de-sac, that they could, all the kids could run around, I'd say you're delusional. They had that and they left that. And so it's just crazy pants to me. And Mary even admits when she's in Vegas, she said, you know what? She's like, I know they're going to be really upset with me for saying this, but they're always asking me if I'm coming along, and I'm kind of sick of them asking. And we saw that. I think last season, we talked about that a lot, how they were constantly
told
like,
you so.
Are you coming? Are you coming with us? Are you going to Flagstaff? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to Flagstaff. Are you coming? Yeah, I said I'm coming. But
yeah, but are you?
But you don't sound like you're happy about it. She's like, well, I really don't want to move, but I will. Well, why can't you be more enthusiastic? It's like Robin can be hysterically crying, but Mary can't. So this is, I know this sounds like, oh my gosh, you guys are really into Mary. I just think the situation's unfair to her. She's not a perfect person. None of us are, but the situation is infuriating to me because I can imagine how it would feel. You're this weird, essentially an aunt. She's married to this guy who divorced her to marry a younger woman. You know, she said that she's sad that she's not with him, and my first thought was, but are you? Are you really? So we see Truly. Oh, so they're having a family meeting. This is what I mean about the Cody thing, is they're having a family meeting, and Truly comes in, and Mary's like, oh, I haven't seen you, Truly, in a while. How, come say hi. And Cody's like, no, you have to say hi to Dad first. And he's like, kind of like, oh, no, Dad's more important. You always, but it's just so much like undermining his own family. Like, they talk about how plural families about you could have multiple moms. But then I guess Dad's always more important. And how insecure are you that she's been gone for weeks and you're seeing him at least once every 3rd day? And here's the thing is, I wonder if the wives got a little comfortable that they had him every 3rd day instead of every 4th. Because where's he going to, Mary wasn't even in town. So they're putting in walls so they can sell the house. Okay, this is the other thing. The houses aren't even listed yet? What is going on? The houses aren't listed? I thought the whole point was to get these houses listed. This is just anytime we talk about what a bad decision it is, there's like some new way that it's even a worse decision. Like Robin's been planning this family reunion so she can't list her house, so she's spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and the house isn't even staged and they still have their stuff there. But then what was this?
One expensive.
Then what was this big move over the summer, like the season finale, where we gotta move right now? No one said they were leaving half their crap behind, so they couldn't list the house.
That's one expensive used story.
And then isn't Janelle going back every weekend to like show houses? Remember when she was saying that? And I'm like, wait, only one house is listed? Why isn't Janelle listing her house when she's there every? It's so confusing to me. So their houses aren't listed. One house is listed.
And even though they're all a family, none of them want to live together.
And they can't live together. Now, they explain that Mary has too much stuff for her business. But I think the truth is they don't want to live with her. Now, I would say this is fine.
With each other also.
This is, none of them want to live together. It's just, not that I would want to live, I don't know how to say it. I want to live with my sister wife. I want to have a sister wife. I don't know how to explain it. So they have 5 mortgages, 4 houses, and then the property. Then they have 3 rents, but then that's not right because they bought Christine's house. So they have 6 mortgages, 2 rentals, and then they're going to have a 3rd rental when Mary moves. So anyway, that's all shored up. I said if only there was some way they could have stayed in Vegas. Because the joke is that they could have. They could have stayed. This whole big, that was the whole thing. Well, we're going to sell because the market is hot. Well, then I'll tell you what you do not do is you do not buy overpriced property. You sell the old houses, you rent, you wait for the market to crash, and then you buy the property. That is not what they did. They supposedly, one of his big things is like the market's going nuts. Well, then they didn't list the houses. Robin is complaining. Oh, then there's a whole thing about Christmas, and then Robin's complaining about Christmas. I will say, I don't comment on people's looks, but her makeup in her own confessional was really odd. It was like really super aggressive compared to the group confessional. I don't know. I just noticed. So she's complaining about Christmas, and then what drives me nuts and drives them nuts is that he does this all the time. He creates a situation and then he martyrs himself about how difficult it is for him. And Janelle very, very mildly says one thing and everyone's like, whoa, I don't want any part of this. And she's like, well, you're the one who wanted us to move. Oh boy, Janelle, ooh, ooh. And it's like, I don't want a dynamic where I can't talk to my husband about the truths of what's going on. And we've had some hard conversations about, like, this was your idea or whatever. And it's tough, but this idea that the way that their relationship works is that he gets to make all these imperial discussions and then they can't ever question it again. Like, I get...
And then he complains about his own decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I get, like, it's unhealthy in a relationship to, like, dig and dig and dig and dig. So I'm not saying, like, oh, they should definitely mention this for the rest of your life. But the fact that they can never mention it, but Mary's catfish thing, it's now been 4 or 5 seasons. They haven't, as far as, I think he quite openly said they have not slept together since then. Which is something I'm sure was just lovely to hear on national TV. But he expects her to be a wife and contribute to the family, all that kind of stuff.
Well, they need her money, honey.
Well, and it's sad because all these kids clearly love her. So anyway,
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a whole thing about daddy before Mary. Then he's like the whole bit about, so this was the other thing that just sent me through the roof, which is Gabe is depressed. Depression is real. It is not shocking that he is depressed. He expressed very strongly before he didn't understand why they were moving.
He was pretty clear about why he didn't want to go.
He was really frustrated. They made no accommodations. Janelle's like, I'm your mother, you're staying with me, which being a mother, I guess I kind of understand, but I also, she kind of rolled over. She was like, this is the worst thing for my family. And then she's like, oh, well, you know, maybe Cody's a good thing. And so it kind of was like, I felt a little bit like she kind of threw her own kids underneath the bus. This is exactly what happened to Hunter. I mean, exactly what happened to Hunter. If you don't know or don't know what I'm referring to, when they suddenly left Utah, which when they left Utah was a little bit more understandable because there were legal implications and their families could be separated. Not just Cody taken away and taken to jail, but the individual mothers might have had to break apart. So that was more understandable. But Hunter got really depressed then. So clearly there's something, I shouldn't say clearly because it can happen to anyone, but maybe their family's more predisposed to it. Maybe they just, Janelle seems like she's smart enough. Maybe the kids are seeing through this a little bit, but the kid's depressed. And Cody makes it all about him. Like he makes the comment about how it's not that he doesn't like the property, he's punishing me for moving him here. And it's like, the kid's depressed. And it doesn't even seem, like if I was depressed like that, like you wouldn't be able to put me on TV because I'd be screaming and yelling, especially at his age. So I feel super bad for him, and it really frustrates me to see his father on national TV throw him under a bus and basically call him, and saying that it's about Cody. It's just really making him, it's just very frustrating to me. We don't talk about kids that are under 18. Maybe Cody should show some same respect to his own children.
We don't talk ill about them.
Well, yeah, that's correctly. We try to give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't sign up for this, and even if they did, they don't necessarily understand the implications.
But this kid,
of what it would be.
It's pretty clear this kid got the
short end of the stick.
Bad end of the stick.
And so it bothers me that his father is essentially throwing him underneath the bus to make himself feel better. And it bothers me because I feel like as a father, he should be like, Gabe's just really having a hard time with this and he's a good kid, or I don't know, something. I don't know. So it bothered me. Robin saying we were crazy to leave, yes. Now there's a lot of people on Twitter who are talking about Robin, that this whole move was about her son. Oh, and his name just slipped my mind. Who was going to school there. And that she orchestrated this whole move.
She does have $1 million house there now.
I know. And I think he lives at home. I mean, the reason I don't talk about that a whole lot is because I feel really bad for the kid. And I'm sorry I can't remember his name. It's like on the tip of my brain. Ugh. Someone in the comments, well, they know who I'm talking about. But it just really upsets me because it's not his fault if his mom did that. And so it just makes me feel bad. I don't know if it, and I don't necessarily know if it's true. I mean, maybe it's a simple. It could be true, but not true that way. No. What I was gonna say is that maybe they went with him to go visit, and Cody got this great idea and was like, "This is where we need to be." You know what I mean? Because it seems like that's kind of how he looks for signs and everything. I just feel this is where we're supposed to be. So, so they get there, they show the property. I guess the idea is that they're supposed to see the property, and now all the kids love it. I agree they're probably not going to move in time. So Gabe decides, and then all the parents are like, "Oh no, you can't go in the pond." And I just feel like, just let the kid have something. Let him have something. This has been crappy. So he goes, he seems to have a good time. Then all the kids go. And then to me, it felt like Cody was like, "Oh wow, everyone's attention's on the kid. I need to be in the center of this." So I do appreciate TLC blurring out everything in the crotch area. Like, they did everything. I wondered how baggy were those pants. Anyway, and he's like, "We made this decision together." It's like, "No, you didn't. You made the decision. I really didn't think they were going to move." Silly me when he brought it up at the beginning of last season. So there you go. This is just so typical of any episode, which is like just infuriating. You're like, "Oh my gosh, how?" And the previews for the rest of the season just sent me through the roof. Him talking about how Robin she's always gotten the scraps. Well, first of all, I don't think anyone who has seen any 14 seasons feels that way. Like when he went to the very first season, when he left Christine when she was giving birth to go see Robin, all the way through. Secondly, Janelle's standing right there. How does she feel hearing that Robin's always gotten the short end of the stick and gotten, it's like, anyway, I will get to that head exploding moment when it comes. So thank you so much.